Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think both of you were watching a couple of weeks ago when we had Secretary Carter here, and you're familiar with his testimony wherein one of the statements was readiness remains at troubling levels across the force, that even with the FY budget, the Army, Navy, and Marine Corps won't reach their readiness goals until 2020 and the Air Force 2023. And then General Dempsey stated that what we need to remain at the lower ragged edge of manageable risk in our ability to execute the defense strategy. Now, do both of you agree with these statements? The defense planning requirements are that you guys are the one that are in charge of Homeland Security, and that's supposed to be our number one requirement, number one guidance. Is that correct?
Homeland Defense, sir.
Homeland Defense,
yes,
yeah. Sir. Well, the requirements are found in the Homeland Defense. That's correct. What concerns me is that for the past 14 years, I think that everyone's aware, and you're certainly aware, that both of your areas of responsibility have been prioritized behind the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's a big deal. I don't think many people out there in the real world or in America understand that, sir, we understand that our top priority should be Homeland Defense. Everyone understands that. But what the budget, forgetting about sequestration, bringing us up to where we are today, has taken away your ability or that priority for Homeland Defense. And I think it's something that we have to be talking about up here. Or do you think, I'd ask both of you, in your opinions, are already accepting too much risk as it relates to our number one priority, Homeland Defense?
I'll take that, sir. You know, the way we execute, the way and the means that we execute Homeland Defense is an away game. It's better to fight the fight at the further reaches through the forward deployed geographic commanders, such as General Kelly here. Mm-hmm. And the challenge that we're having, even though we've been in 14 years of war, as we come out of these wars, you're usually entering a better security situation than when you went into war. That's why we went to war. But as Dr. Kissinger testified to you a few weeks ago, clearly that's not what we had, and we just didn't predict it even 3 short years ago. Yeah. And the forward deployed combatant commanders, each and every single one of them are dealing with a crisis in their AOR on their doorsteps today. And they're seeking, and they need, in order for them to defend the nation and the far game, they need the forward deployed forces and the forward base forces to deal with those crises, get them into an off-ramp, and not let them escalate any more than they already are. And that's where the risk is. They own that risk, and that's their ability to execute that mission is very tattered because of how thin we are, because we have to distribute them globally. And as the service chief said, our ability to surge them greater capability from the homeland, so the fight is still overseas, is reduced. And how that also impacts is those service members that are executing that mission. All right, their risk and the acceptable losses have gone up significantly.
Well, Admiral, and I appreciate the answer. It's a very good answer. It's a long way of saying yes. And so do you agree with that, General Kelly?
I do, yes, sir.
Okay. General Kelly, the area that I'm really familiar with, I spent 20 years of my life in the building and developing down in South Texas. I'm familiar not with the rest of the border, but the Texas border I am. And you said, I wrote it down here, your people understand it intimately. Included in what they understand intimately, does that include the border, the Texas-Mexico border?
No, sir, not in my case. My boundary ends with the South Mexican border.
Okay.
So Bill's your guy.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, all right. Are they very familiar with that? The reason I say that, there's danger on the border down there. In fact, it's misunderstood because it's mostly between 2 cartels or 2 drug groups firing. One of the few places on that border where people can go over from the United States was a little community called Progreso. And even the other day, that ended up a battleground. Is everyone on top of that and familiar with that and aware of the risk that gives some of our people?
Yes, sir. Everybody's aware of the risk. Do we have 100% visibility into everything of that? No, sir, we don't. We work that very, very hard with our interagency partners, Homeland Security, and our interagency partners inside Mexico. And our responsibility is to expand the capacity through training with the Army, the Navy, and their Marine Corps, Sedena and Samar.
Okay, I've got a problem with my timing here, and I did want to get into some statements that have been made. General Kelly, you talked about, and Gitmo, the history of that, when we got it, the good deal it is even today, and what all is there other than the incarceration of terrorists that are down there. So I'm going to ask you this question for the record, and because I am very interested in some of the other things that are going on down there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.